Joseph Kosinski, the visual prodigy that brought us Tron Legacy, now brings us only his second film. Did you know that Tron Legacy was actually the most expensive film ever made by a first-time director? The costumes alone were $13 million, and one custom Tron suit was $60,000 a piece. Luckily, with Tom Cruise in Oblivion, Kosinski can cut that costume budget in half. Hey! I should really stop making fun of short people. It's like a reverse Napoleon complex. In fact, you know what? That's going to be my legacy on this earth. Since there's no name for a reverse Napoleon complex, I'm going to call it the Real School Complex. Just wait. In the future, one of these days, you're going to see my picture in the dictionary. Wait, what did that say? Not to brag, but as soon as I saw the trailer for Oblivion, I said to myself, I know what the twist in this movie is going to be. Am I psychic? Maybe. Subscribe to Real School! While I wasn't spot on, meaning it wasn't the twist of the film, I was still able to guess where the film was going without really knowing a lot about it. Kosinski had said that when making Oblivion, he was paying homage to the classic sci-fi films of the 70s and 80s. Kosinski borrows heavily from 2001: A Space Odyssey, The Terminator, and even some more modern influences like The Matrix. You're probably thinking to yourself, Michael Wynne Johnson, with all those classic genre films in the mix, how can you go wrong? This would be my biggest complaint right from the start, that if you are a connoisseur of everything science fiction, then you have seen dozens of films that have inspired Oblivion. You've seen it all before. There had to be more appeal to this film than just the sci-fi story, right? For me, it was the fact that Kosinski, in my opinion, could be the up-and-coming filmmaker. Now, I'm sure that statement has a lot of film fanatics losing their mind, as several people really didn't like his Tron Legacy. Are you kidding me though? Tron Legacy was a beautiful film to watch. And the people who said Kosinski ruined Tron are probably the same people who said Whedon ruined the Avengers. While I would say that both Tron Legacy and Oblivion both have some weak story points, you cannot take anything away from Kosinski's visual method. Kosinski is arguably the most sensual director out there, and I don't mean that in the sexual connotation of that word. I mean that he literally engages all of your senses. It's not merely the epic visual scope that he can create, but it's the amount of detail that he puts into his work as well. Bear in mind, of course, he knows the background of Oblivion because it is based off the graphic novel that he himself wrote, but he also did it in Tron. The films even seemingly engage your tactile responses. You actually feel like you could reach out and touch that world because it's so real. Or reach out and touch Olivia Wilde. Wait, am I broadcasting my thoughts again? Part of creating such a tangible world is also creating a soundscape, and once again he does it beautifully by mixing music and sound effects. I've already praised Daft Punk's score as one of the greatest soundtracks of all time when it comes to Tron Legacy, but Oblivion's score is just as good. To me, a great soundtrack is something that you can feel. It helps you immerse in the world and become part of it. M83, the group of composers who did the score for Oblivion, do just that, and you can hear great influences from Daft Punk and even Hans Zimmer. Which again speaks to the use of sound in Oblivion. It even had that Inception. Oh, I felt that one in my colon. I am a sucker for a great soundtrack, and so M83, whoever you are Oblivion's for the win. I've given you some of my warning signs. Yes, it is a little derivative, and there are some pacing issues, but the audiovisual feast is worth seeing on the big screen alone, and it is an earn it. You may find it predictable, you may not like how little Morgan Freeman is in the film, but I'm telling you, Joseph Kosinski is a filmmaker you have to watch out for. Since Kosinski was inspired by so many great classic sci-fi films, my poll question for today is, what is your favorite classic sci-fi film? And classic means before 1990. As always, leave your answers to the poll question in the comments section below, and until next time, school's out! Subscribe to Real School!